like to do at this time, because I did get to, we got to chat before and talk about different things about your new book, the original Peacebuilder. And
Yes,
so now we're talking to my live community and Facebook, which is exciting. And I will be asking some of the same questions, some different questions.
yes,
So, would you talk a little bit about what inspired you to write this book?
yes. Thank you. Thank you again. It's great to see you again. Thank you for joining my TikTok community. They loved you, and now they can see you. So thank you for being here. And welcome to your community, to your people, to your viewers, and thank you for your work. So for me, as I reflected on this, right, it was really being able to share the origins of peace building for me, right? So the word original doesn't necessarily mean that I'm the only one, the first one, or anything like that. What it means is that I'm original. This is my original plan. This is my
Mm,
original purpose. This is my original passion. I didn't know it when I was young. I didn't know that I was going to be a peace builder. However, now looking back, right, when you reflect back, I look at all the different times that I was a peace builder and how it played into today. What kind of natural skills and abilities I had learned from being the way, growing up the way that I did. So that's what inspired me. I really wanted to be able to share also what are some of the um, strategies, some of the abilities, some of the capacities of people that go through trauma to actually then be the ones that heal others, right? So
mm,
in this book, that was another motivator.
mm. That's so powerful that you share that. It was interesting because I was talking with someone recently where they asked what kind of authors do you work with and who are the people, and I actually had a different way of talking about it recently, which was that the people that I work with are often people that are very, very positive,
Yep.
very like, optimistic, helpful to other people. They seem like they're real, like some of the happiest people you know. But
Right.
then when you find out what they've actually been through and some of the things they live through, often it's very traumatic and very, very challenging things. And you go, how is this person, how did they go through this? And that definitely explains, that definitely is you to a T.
Thank you.
Right.
Yes,
So,
it is.
what do you think that is? I mean, what is it in you that allowed you to become who you are now?
Oh, that's a powerful question. Thank you for asking. And even I realized through this process of writing two books with you, right? Like
Mhm.
that I hadn't really understood what brought me there until I started learning more about what we experience through trauma. What are some of the mechanisms that we develop, right? What are some of the capacities that we develop? And I feel now, knowing again, looking back, that I develop a sense of compassion based on not only the suffering that my mom did, the suffering that I did, but also the fact that I started witnessing people that were suffering from on different levels that
Mhm.
instilled in me the sense of wanting to stop the suffering, to wanting to stop the hurt. And I didn't know how, because again, when you're
Mhm.
young, you really don't know how. You don't know how to communicate it, and depending on what you're going through. But once I learned the language, once I learned my ability, I felt like I had no choice. I felt like I needed to go out and prevent people from feeling and being exposed to the things that I had encountered as a child or as a teenager or as someone in their 20s. And that motivated me. That pushed me through it. I saw how much the people around me were hurting, and I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to see that anymore.
You use this phrase in the book that where you say you are an interrupter of suffering.
Yeah, yeah,
And you talked about different people in your life that had been that for you. I get
yes,
chills when I think about that. And it was such a powerful way to think about that, because we all have that power,
yeah,
that when we do see somebody that is suffering, that we can actually step in
yes.
and do something about that.
Yeah, like again, I am a blessed person in many ways, because at so many different points, someone just said one word, one sentence, gave me one hug, gave me one piece of advice, held me accountable, right? And we may not see it in the moment as something that is helping you, but along the line, right, along the path, when you start writing it, you realize how many people had your back in at one point or the other, that instilled in you this sense of support, this sense of safety, this drip of hope, right? And for me, I feel that that's what happened. These interrupters of suffering were present. I wasn't listening because of what I was going through, but I was actually absorbing it and storing it in a track of my mind and my heart. So when I was ready to change and I was ready to listen, I had a ton of energy, a ton of experiences, a ton of drips of hope, that I said, well, you know what? Yeah, this works. I can do this. I can use what I learned from others to help people. So yeah, interrupter of suffering is what I am, and peace builder is what I am, and someone that's an advocate for peace is what I am.
Mm. You were, so I went to UConn School of Social Work.
Yeah,
You were basically a co-teacher, right?
yeah,
At UConn School of Social Work. We didn't meet then, we met later. We
yeah,
were there at different times.
hmm,
But it that's pretty, I don't know, that's pretty different and very innovative of UConn School of Social Work to have you be there. It must have taken so much guts for you
yeah.
to be in those spaces too. It's so right to walk. Could you talk a little bit about what that experience was like to walk in and be speaking to this group of people that they,
Yeah.
they had no experience with the life that you would come from. I mean, right, I'm
Right.
assuming that
Yeah.
is an assumption, but
Yeah.
um, what was that like for you?
Well, I learned that's not very much an assumption at all. I learned it by being in the classrooms with interns and students, right? Graduate students, and to me, I felt so completely out of place, right, at the
Mm.
school. I felt so overwhelmed by what I was seeing, right? As I wrote in the book, I felt like I was watching gazelles run across the prairie, right? Like I was like, where are all these kids going? Why are they running to somewhere? What are they carrying in those book bags? It was so foreign to me. It wasn't anything I was familiar with. I didn't see it in TV. I didn't see it with anybody else. I had no one in my life that had gone to college that I knew at the time. So I didn't know anything about that thing. So when I show up to this campus and I'm watching kids play all kinds of different sports with their feet, and I'm what is this? Like, what's going on? So I'm overwhelmed. I don't feel like I belong. I already have this chip on my shoulder where I feel like I'm illiterate. I'm not intelligent. I feel like I have this stigma for myself, right? And I'm a member of a gang still. I have all these things. I'm a convicted felon. I have all these different things that I feel are against me. And now I'm self-conscious that everybody sees that through me. Everybody sees that over me. So it was very, very challenging to navigate it. I still had this tough exterior, like, because I didn't just go to UConn and then navigate that. I also had to go back to my neighborhood and navigate that. So I had to code switch and pivot and change and just be somebody completely different all the time. So it was really overwhelming. But it was also like an awakening. Like I felt
Mm.
that people the more I saw them, the more, excuse me, the more I felt that I belonged there, the more I felt that I
Mm.
could do what they were doing. And the more I started to realize that this is a place that I could be in and that others can come to. And this is a place where you could find opportunity. This is a place where you could learn to be better. This is a place where even those people were struggling in different ways. I learned about not the same struggles, but I learned that struggle was struggle. I
Mm.
might be struggling with, the gang life and violence, but they might have been struggling with a whole nother, series of things that I didn't know about, right? So I had to take that into account. So it was an incredible opportunity for me to learn and to grow and
Mm.
develop to be at the school.
Mm. Thank you.
Hmm.
When we were talking on your TikTok, we talked about uh, being open to other people's perspective
Yeah.
as being a really powerful way to increase peace in our communities. What are some ways that we can be develop that? What are some ways that we can, each of us, more open to understanding people's perspectives, or do you have tools or ideas
Right.
of ways we could enhance that?
So I think so. As we talked earlier, for me, so I'm going to talk about us two, you and I, for a second, if it's okay, right?
Hmm.
So if when I met you because I wanted to write a book,
Hmm.
and I wanted to utilize your expertise and experience in doing this to help me get over the hump,
Hmm.
get me to a point where I was ready to publish, right?
Right.
But that's not the only reason, right, that I was able to connect with you. The reason I
Hmm.
was able to connect with you is because from the beginning, I didn't have an opinion about you. I didn't have a judgment about you. I didn't have a
Hmm.
perception about you. I was going to see you at face value. I was going to see you for who you were and what you taught me about yourself, right? So
Hmm.
for me, the way to find peace, right, to find community is to not only listen, learn the person you're dealing with, understand their perspective and who they are, and treat them based on how they're working with you, how they're treating you, and how they are being with you, right? So
Hmm.
second part of this is this: we also as a society have to understand that if our neighbor is not well, we are not well. And in many instances, what we don't do is we don't associate the a person suffering next door to our future suffering. We don't make the connection. We feel that that's their business, that's their problem, that's their drama. For me, I don't feel that way. I feel that
Hmm.
if I can prevent someone next door, across the street, in a different community stop struggling, then the greater my life will be. People, unfortunately, and again, this is a blanket statement, but it's also based on my career, right? And in my experiences. Individuals who are struggling and suffering trauma and suffering hopelessness, some individuals, right, will dig into a part of themselves that will hurt other people, because
Hmm.
unfortunately, in their struggle, in their pain, in their trauma, they awaken a survival mechanism, a fear mechanism, and that fear and struggle will in many instances propel someone to commit an action against someone else that they may not have done if they were well, and they were resourced, they were helped.
Hmm.
So for me,
Hmm.
the more I can make sure that someone else is well, the more I ensure my wellness in the future. Because what's to
Hmm.
stop somebody that's struggling out in the community from targeting me later, right? And you look at
Hmm.
people that you hear, right, and you hear of different atrocities that happen on the global stage, on the national stage. What do you normally hear? This person has something that was eating at them, and what did they
Hmm.
do? They went and they took it out on somebody else, right? Why? Because they were not well, and unfortunately, we didn't reach them in time to make them well, so they didn't target somebody else. And then when they discriminately target anyone, you don't know who they're gonna. So it could be you. So for us, it is imperative that we look at our neighbor and we say, "Yes, neighbor, I see you're struggling. How can I help?" And
Hmm.
that will increase our opportunities to have a more peaceful community. So listening, understanding, and making sure our neighbors are well.
That's such an excellent point. And it's it's altruistic, it's loving, but it's honestly a little bit like, yeah, it
Yeah,
defends us, it
yeah,
protects us when our
yeah.
neighbors will too, right? it's
Mhm.
it's it is coming from a loving place, but also loving for ourselves too, that
Yes.
we can all be well. And I lived in Hartford till I was 4, and then
Yeah.
moved to Avon.
Okay.
And Hartford to Avon is a big difference.
Yeah.
And I live in Avon now,
Right.
and I do feel like we have a responsibility,
Hmm.
as living in the suburbs.
Right.
That it's not just our community that is our neighbor can mean people in a town over. Like, this is still our community, it's also our global community, right? That we what so I feel, and I'm still trying to figure it all out, but you
Right.
know that the more that we can take that ownership of helping one another in
Right.
whatever way that looks like, instead of seeing people as other or something else that
Yeah.
is separate from us, because the well-being of each of us is the
Right.
well-being of all, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, if you think about it this way, right? We don't know what one kind act will do to change the trajectory of someone that's struggling. So
Mm-hmm.
it is important, imperative for us to step out of our home and give it
Mm-hmm.
everything we have, right? Give it everything we have to make our spaces better. And what that means, it doesn't mean okay, take on everybody's problems because it's not realistic. What it means is that you be a vessel, you be the person that steps into a place and brings some of that light. And maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
a simple good morning, how are you? And the person may not be ready to say good morning back. But you
Mm-hmm.
still carry that. You still be that vessel. And all it takes is one changed individual to change another, right? So for
Mm-hmm.
me, that's where the differences are, right? That's where it is. Commit yourself to saying, what can I do today to make the world better? Even if it's a 5 minute thing. Like someone today, I was talking to went to a coffee shop, and when at the coffee shop, the person in front of them said, "I got that. I got their bill." Right?
Mm-hmm.
Simple. That person may not have wanted it, but the person said yes, and the person was like, "Wow, that's kind." That
Mm-hmm.
person, if they pass it forward, now all of a sudden you have a chain reaction, right, of individuals doing kind things for each other. Or maybe that person just needed that and to go home and talk kindly to their kid, or talk kindly to their spouse, or to their mom or dad. Sometimes we inspire other people to say, "Wow, that was cool. I didn't think of being nice today. Maybe I can change that." Because again, I know collectively we start taking those steps, then our communities are better. If you live in a position where you are privileged, like I am, I'm privileged. I feel like I'm privileged. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to go to communities that may not have the same privilege and give some of myself to that community in order to help them feel better, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it may not be 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but I can do something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I hear you saying.
Right.
And I'm grateful that that's how we carry ourselves. We want to help people,
Mm-hmm.
period.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is there any advice that you have? You know, a lot of my listeners are writers and authors. Do you have any advice for folks that are writing their personal story? This is obviously what you're writing things that are deeply personal to you.
Mhm.
Any advice for people as they're navigating that type of writing of a book?
Yeah, I learned to cry, right? I learned to embrace emotions,
Mm-hmm.
to embrace crying as a strength.
Mm-hmm.
I learned to embrace uncertainty as a reason to reach for help.
Mm-hmm.
I learned about being able to be okay with the fact that your writing isn't everyone else's writing,
Mm-hmm.
right? I write differently than you do, and et cetera. And many times we're comparing ourselves to individuals at a high level, high status. Just write
Mm-hmm.
and heal and ask for help and take a break. And then when you're ready, go back into it. Don't
Mm-hmm.
force this process when you're talking about such deep things, right? Just let it go. When you need a break, take a step away. Whenever you need a moment and you're not finding the right words, just scribble on a notepad and go back to it. It'll come back to you. Those are some of the pieces of advice that I have for folks that are writing deeply personal memoirs or reliving traumatic experiences through your writing. You may realize something that you never realized happened, and that's a pausing moment to be like, "Whoa, okay, let me reach out to someone. Let me tell my best friend. Let me take a drive and think about this. Let me see if I
Mm-hmm.
really want to go there right now." Right. So study yourself, learn yourself in the process. I had to do a lot of that.
Mm-hmm. That's excellent advice. Yeah, it's a different type of writing than if you were writing
Yeah.
like a how to, I don't know, build a bicycle book, right? It's a very different thing that you got to take a pause and cry and express yourself and to take care of yourself through the process. And
Absolutely.
yeah, that's
Absolutely. Yes.
excellent advice. Is there anything else you'd like to have our listeners know?
Well, first, let me just say this. This is the copy of the original Peacebuilder. That's so the cover. So people may want to know what the cover is.
Oh, yes.
So the cover is puzzle pieces, and the puzzle pieces on
Mhm.
my back are reflective of times in my life, periods in my life that I went through. And that I experienced, and the empty pieces, the puzzle pieces that are empty, are indicative of the growth I still have to experience, the steps that I haven't walked, what I haven't achieved, what I haven't accomplished, what I haven't experienced, and what I still have to develop into. So it's really a journey. The book is really a journey into peace building, but it's also a continuation of what I hope to continue to accomplish, which is introspection, self love, understanding, and evolution. Right? We evolve
Mm,
every day. So the book is really indicative of my evolution, but it's also a step forward in continuing to evolve. So
mhm,
yeah, so if folks are interested, they can definitely pick it up and learn some of the techniques, strategies, innate skills, some of the traits that someone that might be a peace builder or wants to become a servant, a community servant, a social worker can utilize to help improve not only their skills but their mindset, right? Or maybe help
mhm.
someone that needs to evolve their career. Maybe some of these things can help you do that. Yeah.
I want to make sure I ask you this question before we wrap up, which
Sure.
is, what type of work are you doing right now? Like specific examples so that people will know, if I have any people in the community that are listening right now or doing this work, like how could you support their efforts? Like what are ways that you
Okay.
help?
Thank
Yeah.
you. So, and Nazario Motivation, right now we have three, what I call three particular areas of focus. One is we're teaching emotional intelligence and leadership development to middle and high school students. So, Nazario Motivation, we're currently at 6 schools in Greater
Mm,
Hartford and also in Fairfield County.
mm,
Second to that is transformative facilitation sessions. So, if your group, organization, or institution has groups of folks and you're looking to help individuals evolve into a better version of themselves, a stronger version of themselves, a more connected version of themselves to heal from whatever they experienced in life. I can come in and help facilitate those sessions. Third, I'm a consultant. So if you have an organization that is looking at pain points, right, and you are human services or social services, and you're serving clients in different communities, and you're looking to see ways to improve your capacity, improve your outcomes, include your efforts and your culture. I'm someone that can come in and really do a full assessment of your organization to determine ways that you might be able to improve and achieve those things. And then lastly, I'm a motivational speaker. I'm a public speaker. So if you're having an outing, you're having a conference, and you really want to motivate your audience, I can come in and help support that. And then lastly, without missing it, I'm an author. I'm looking to publish a little few more books. So that's the way that those are some of the ways that I can help your organization, your group, or your institution.
mm. Excellent. And your website, is that the best? What's the best way for people to contact you or
Yes.
to
Yeah.
get in touch?
So folks can reach me on nasariomotivation@gmail.com, or you can go to the website nasariomotivation.com, and you can fill out a form to contact me through there as well.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. It was a joy as always,
Thank
Ron.
you. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the support and all the help, and we'll be in touch. It's a pleasure and honor to work with you, and thank you for connecting me to your community. Thank you very much.
Thank you for taking the time.
All
Talk
right.
to you
Take care.
soon.
Talk to you soon. Take
Bye.
care. Bye bye.